Yeah, it's funny. I kind of got thrown into HVAC too. It wasn't the job that I picked going into the Marine Corps. Um,
Really? I was gonna
I
ask, like,
picked,
did you pick it or did you fall into
yeah,
it?
no, not at all. Not at all. I didn't even know that was like a job that the Marine Corps offered. I thought it was just, gun or infantry, artillery, like,
Yeah.
grunt job, stuff like that. Um, I found out after boot camp, that I was going to be a refrigeration mechanic, and I was like, dude, I don't even know anything about any of this, like this is all foreign to me. I mean, as soon as I started doing it and actually got out into the field and got to do my job, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Um, I was the guy everybody would call when they wanted, cold air in their tents. Number one thing, the only thing that holds people back is themselves. So that is like the top. At the end of the day, we can come up with all these excuses of why we can't do something or, but they're your excuses.
Hola, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reliable Trades podcast. I'm your host, Adrian, and I'm an HVAC business owner here in South Texas. I do, a little bit of content creation and things of that nature online. On this podcast, we interview a lot of tradespeople from many different trades, business owners, people in manufacturing, people in software companies, new technicians, older technicians, people that start at 18, 16 even, and people that start in their 40s and 50s. So plenty of good conversations to be had with good people and a lot of good stories that maybe you would relate to. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, any other location, please leave us a review. We hope to earn those 5 stars, and I really have fun doing this podcast. I appreciate everybody that watches or listens and makes this what it is. And don't forget to check out HVAC Nights every Thursday night. Me and Jake host a live podcast weekly, and you can also check out merch from my store, the HVAC Nights, the nightwear, any of that at reliablehvacr.net. I also want to thank our sponsors that help keep this thing going. Jobber is our favorite CRM. I've tried different ones until finding Jobber that kind of controls the chaos that it is running a business and still being in the field and trying to get all the billing, quoting, submitting everything that you need to do outside of the field. And with Jobber, we do our maintenance contracts, we do our invoicing, our quoting, following up with customers to get reviews. That has helped our business a lot. And it offers website building and a whole bunch of AI features now baked in, and you can also do add-ons if you have any other software that you want, because they do work with a lot of marketing tools and things, AI receptionists and things like that. So check out Jobber for yourself, see if it helps your business. You get a 2-week free trial and a special discount if you use the link down below. Hvacr Pro Pack is also a supporter, and I can tell you right now, even though I see a bunch of competitors coming into the field, they are still hands down the best tool bags that you can buy. They are an investment, I understand that, but once you try one, like I did back during COVID, you won't want to use any other tool bag. And the thing is, they have so many products now that you can find the one that is perfect for you. So make sure to check out Hvacr Pro Pack at your supply house or go to vitopropack.com. True Tech Tools has a lot of their stuff as well. Go check out their website to make sure that you can find the perfect bag for yourself. You won't regret it. And if you guys run your own business, have you heard of CallRail? They are a call tracking service to help you with marketing needs. One of the things that I've heard a lot of is how to get customers, how to get your name out when you're just starting your business. Call tracking and marketing is a big deal, and it's helped us get our name out. And they also introduced this voice assist to help small businesses out when you can't hire or afford to hire a receptionist or even an office space to have this receptionist. So with CallRail in place, they can not only track your calls and tell you what advertisements you're using work or don't work, so you know where to spend your money, backed by data and analytics. And if you're not online you don't exist in today's world. But they also do this voice assist receptionist that can answer the calls whether you're off, your after hours, weekends with your family, holidays, whatever it is, you're on vacation, you want to take some time off, you still need someone to answer the phone. And in my opinion, in our experience, it's actually helped weed out the good customers from the bad and, spam type of calls that we get. It actually does work. So if you guys want to check it out for yourself, make sure to check out callrail.com. I'll leave a link where you can get a free trial and try out either tracking or the voice assist for yourself and see if you like it and if you can implement it in your business. But trust me, it's going to help you guys quite a bit. Local HQ has been a big help in our marketing and SEO. So they have built our website, they have built our searchability, they have built our Google business profile. And without that, I don't think our phone honestly would have been ringing off the hook the way it is right now. We look professional, everything's in place for customers to find us online, and that is thanks to Local HQ. They are a marketing company that is tailored to the trade. So if you want more information, check out the link below and mention me or the Reliable Trades podcast and get 2 months of SEO for free. I've been doing this so long, I still have mishaps that happen on my end. So I'm like, check. Okay. How are you, man? How's everything?
Doing great. Recovering from some celebratory libations for passing the contractor exam. So
Was this your first attempt?
this was my second go around.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, because I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and I'm like, I have this guess, but I don't know what mood he'll be in, because he said
right.
Saturday he has his test, and we're recording the next day. So congrats, first off.
Appreciate it.
How difficult was that for you, man? Because it took me about 3 tries. Because somebody did mention, I don't know if you follow mechanical environments. Megan was like, that her significant other passed. She's like, he's humble, he passed it on his first try. I'm like, dude, that's amazing, because it took me like 3. And I tell people not to get ashamed of it, because it's not easy to go in there and nail it on your first try. There's so much that you underestimate when you go into that test.
Yeah, there's a lot that I didn't take into account, and I'm glad I retook it. I retook it a week after my first test day, so I'm glad I took it while it was still fresh in my head, and I still had those questions. So yeah, definitely a lot of weight off the shoulders, but it's now we're just getting started. So
yeah, because I took mine, like I said, it took me like, I'm pretty sure 3 tries. I know it was more than 2. And I immediately, like, as soon as I saw that I failed, I immediately went and like scheduled again, because I was like, you don't want to wait too long either, because then you're gonna forget everything that you know. And are you in Texas as well?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Houston.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's not the most difficult test. Like, it is time consuming. Like, it's a lot of questions in a short amount of time. Finding those questions, if you want to, use your book, that's a whole other thing. That's what I underestimated was, it's because everybody tells me now, and I'm like, yeah, I thought the same thing. It's open book, but do you have time to be looking up each question and answer?
Yeah.
No, you need the book for like only the stuff that you really don't remember. Other than that, you need to know this stuff in order to pass it or to finish it in time. So that was the main thing for me. Is I think the first time I ran out of time and I just started like guessing, and I failed horribly. The second time I was pissed because I missed it by like 1 question. So I got like a 68 or whatever the number was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, geez. Went back the third time and I passed with flying colors. I got like a high 80 or something. I was like, okay, nailed it, right? But
awesome.
it was, but it was so annoying the second time. I was like, 1 question.
Right.
Like, all that
you
stress,
sit there for 4 hours and
all that stress, all that time sitting there. Yeah. Had to do it again. So, for everybody listening, can you give us like a quick intro? You mentioned you're from Texas, just kind of who you are, what you do, and obviously you service, the Houston area.
So my name's Gage. I started my HVAC journey in the Marine Corps. Um, did HVAC throughout the 4 years I was in, and then I carried on with that. Once I got out, started working residential, and within the last 3 years, I've started getting doing primarily commercial, and so getting my feet wet with that, and just going from there. Yeah, a lot of experience in the Marine Corps doesn't really transfer over very well to
Oh,
the
really?
civilian, the civilian sector. So, um,
Is that
yeah,
like a
two totally different industries.
from a technical standpoint or from like a people skills or like environment?
I would say from a technical standpoint, there's a lot of things that I thought I knew that I had no idea about.
Oh,
And
okay.
when I got into the residential world, I mean, I got hit hard with it. I was like, oh, dude, I haven't had to do subcooling or anything like that in years.
Okay.
And so, um,
I guess if you
yeah,
think
just
about it,
very
it's because you're doing like your in-house work, right? And then you go out there and it's like a whole different world. Um,
yeah,
I would kind of because I had a Rudy on here who does apartment maintenance, right? He does everything internally, and then once he gets out, because now he runs his own company, it's like you have to learn a whole different thing because it's not in house. It's like you go elsewhere and
right.
you don't know what you're going to run into as well. Like I'm sure you've seen so many different kinds of systems and technology nowadays. All that stuff. It's hard to keep up with, and I just had a conversation yesterday about this. It's like you have to keep up with it and keep learning, or you're going to screw yourself over.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a big thing that we don't take into account is keeping up with just the new technology, the new systems that come out, the new way of doing things. Um,
And there's reasons that we do things differently because lately I've had to look at myself like, okay, I feel weird saying this, but I've been doing this 20 years. And there's
mhm.
somebody, because I made that comment on somewhere on Instagram, and like a friend, somebody that I do talk to a lot, was pulling my leg a little bit because he's like, "Oh, you're one of those now. You're saying 20 years. You've done it so long, and that's your excuse now." I'm like, I'm not using it as an excuse. It's just it's surreal for me now because I came through the R22 phase and then the 410, and then like
Mm.
now we have another phase that we're going through, and
Oh, so
you
you've
have
been
to,
through all those?
dude. I felt, yeah, I've been through all that, all the phase outs, changeovers, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And when I
this is my
started,
first one. So,
okay, so when I started, the thing for me was when I saw like older technicians, I'm like, oh, you used to work on R12 or like all these other older
mm,
refrigerants that for me at the time were old. Now it's like everybody coming in, it's like R22 is the old refrigerant, right? So yeah,
yeah,
like there's a changeover now for me, myself as a technician now. But I was like, I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just saying like there are reasons for these changes, right? Because I lived through it. No nitrogen was used when I
mm,
started.
right.
Vacuums were very hit or miss. Some people would do it, some people wouldn't. And I've seen systems work without these procedures in place. But R22 is different from like 410, and it's usually the POE oil that's causing this issue. Is because it takes
Mm,
all that oxidation inside and it travels to the TXV. Compressors are
right.
not the same as they used to be. We got different kinds of compressors now. We got different kinds of components, and you have TXVs, electronic expansion valves. You got all this other crap. And I'm like, yeah, there's a reason that you used to get away with it. Now you can't. So just keep up with the
Yeah,
times and learn everything that you can.
right. Yeah, I just uh this year was the first year I started pulling vacuums, not using my manifold, and I
That's a
was like,
big
I mean,
deal.
it's
Yeah.
game changer. Game changer.
See, that was a switch
So
for me like a few years ago because I did manifold like for a good while. And
yeah,
usually, because like, here's the thing, like, and I still don't have like the biggest. like I'm still trying to figure out like what hoses to use because right now I have like
Mhm.
3/8 hoses, and I was like I want something a little bit better, but I would like it depends on your workflow as well because like if you put a vacuum on and it takes 30 minutes, whatever it is, 40 minutes, technically, especially as a one man, if you're doing it as like by yourself, the job, you're cleaning, you're doing something else
Mhm.
while that vacuum's going. So it was never like a big deal to me. But yes,
Right.
like once you it's one of those once you try it and you see how quick it can go.
Yeah.
Or I had a 2 CFM pump for a long time and that little thing could pull a vacuum down as good as the bigger pumps if I had the right hoses to it. So these
Yeah.
are all like keeping an open mind. That was my whole thing with when I was talking about like, 20 years ago versus now. It's not that I want it to be like 20 years ago. I'm just saying you have to keep an open mind because back then everything was through the manifold. Oh, it's going to take 30 minutes an hour. That's when you take your break. That's when you clean up. That's when this like
Yeah.
there was different ways around it, but keep an open mind and get the right tools. That's been my emphasis, especially with the guys that we hired right now. Like, what do you guys need? Like, let me get you the because right now I'm setting up a vacuum setup for one of our guys that is now like running his own calls.
Hmm.
I was like, I don't want you to struggle like I did, waiting around an hour for a damn vacuum when you can get it done in like 15 minutes, right? So there's a you got to keep an open mind. You got to look at these things. Remember,
100%.
I'll say real quick. People always ask me why I spend money on you know these tools and these brands that I buy and um, the torches that I use. Like there's so many things that
Hmm.
I've invested in, and I'm like the time and the convenience is worth the money to me. Now I've done it the hard way and I've done it the easier way. I will pay for the easier way.
Yeah. Time is money, especially in this trade, man.
So did you know that another sponsor of the show at DIVERSITECH is probably in a lot of y'all's vans? They are the umbrella that is Master Care Cleaners, Packard Parts, Hillmore Tools, Fresh Air UV, Swoosh, Quick Sling, Speed Clean, Assurity, and Spin Tools. I have almost something from all of those brands in my van ever since we've started. Packard is a big one for us as far as parts. They usually have something that we would need on a day-to-day basis. So the next time you're replacing parts, maybe look at the name and see if it's one of those. They are your one-stop shop for everything HVAC, and they have you covered for your everyday HVAC needs. Do you have your own business now, or are you still working somewhere?
So I have my own business. We're still trying to get it jump started. I've done a few, service calls with it, but I still have my main
Okay.
company that I work for. Um, so it's kind of weird starting off in the slow season, like getting my license in the wintertime. It's like, well, I'm ready to run out there and knock stuff out, but
Look, I mean, you still have your main job, so you still have something there, and
right,
I because I've interviewed so many guys that have started their business, which is great to see. Like if you guys have that goal or that that ambition and you want to do that, fantastic. We need more of that. But prepare yourself. Just if you're starting slow, just take advantage of it being slow and get all your ducks in a row, right? Because once it hits,
right,
it's gonna hit you real hard.
yeah,
If you start, because I've known guys that are like apprentices and then also business owners that start in the summer and it's just overwhelming. So I mean, it goes both ways. You can
mm,
kind of take your time right now and build it up, get all the little details out. Because every
right,
time I talk to somebody that starts a business, which is like I said a lot this year, I just remember when we started and we had work, but we were slow enough so where I could focus in on like how do I want the vans to look, how do I want the uniforms to look, how do I want the
yeah,
logo, the marketing, business cards, and I had days where I could be in the office. Can't do that anymore. I'm running and gunning. So I
yeah.
kind of miss those days, but like if you have any free time, just take advantage of it and build on your business.
Right on. Yeah. What was something, I guess one of the something that surprised you with with the business,
Well,
with starting going out on your own?
yeah. Okay. So like my dad got kind of pushed into starting it sooner than he wanted. So he had things in place. So like I said, we did have work, and I
Hmm.
remember even before he left his previous job, like working weekends in a Chevy pickup truck. I remember that stupid thing, and it broke down a lot. And just falling asleep, going to work, and doing all this stuff. What kind of surprised me, because everything else kind of went to, I don't know, I would say it went to plan because we had no plan. I get asked a lot
Right.
about like business now from other
Mhm.
podcasters that do like these business podcasts. And I keep telling them, I'm like, dude, I'm no business guru. We didn't have a plan. We don't have we don't take classes. We were just two guys running a business the best that we could. So uh, the thing that surprised me the most was networking and the relationships, because without that, I don't think we would have had a good start.
Mhm.
So my dad networking and being like people skills. I didn't have people skills. I didn't like to talk to anybody. I didn't like to. My main thing was always, and it was something that was taught to me in school. There's a few things that were taught to me in school that I do stand by, but you have to
Mhm.
realize it's different when you get out in the real world as far as like how you run your business. Because we had teachers that had a business, and networking was one thing, and I thought my work would always speak for itself. I
Right.
prided myself on being the best damn technician, and I felt like I excelled and got there pretty quick. But if I didn't have the people skills, if I didn't make friends with everybody, like that stuff didn't matter. It was weird.
Mhm.
So that was a big thing that hit me in the middle of my career was I got to start making friends with all the managers, all the owners.
Yeah.
They got to be comfortable calling me. They got to be comfortable with me there. They would get upset. I had complaints that I didn't say hi. I would just go in and do the work and leave.
You do the
So,
work.
and I was like, I fixed their crap. I'm like, why are they complaining? That my dad was like, you didn't. They were like, somebody was here. He didn't say hi, and you had a complaint. I'm like, all right. So that was something I had to work on. I just wasn't good at it,
Yeah.
and that was a big thing for me was seeing that side of the business and
Mhm.
being thrown into it at 20 years old. I didn't know any better, so I had to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a major one. Definitely networking. That
Customer
seems to be
service,
a
yeah,
customer service. I like just getting up on the roof and just, fixing it real quick. Not only time I come down and say hi is whenever it's fixed and done, and I'm like,
yeah.
all right, you're all good, and you
So
know,
you've done residential and commercial, right?
yes, yeah,
So you prefer commercial?
I do prefer commercial.
What didn't you like about residential?
Residential, it's too. I feel like it's too personal,
Hmm.
which isn't always a bad thing, but
Well, look, let
you
me
know,
let me say this real quick.
mm,
People people that do residential that really like it enjoy the conversation with the customer and the
mm,
people, or the being personable and people skills, and you know uh, that kind of interaction, which I get, and I like
right,
that too. But I just don't like being in someone's home and being responsible for these things and liable, and then like them. There's complaints that will come with it if you don't do it exactly to their liking, or they don't
yeah,
understand how a system works, right? Those are the things that I'm worried about. I'm in somebody's home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Homeowners are the worst, man.
Those
But
uh those
yeah, no,
complaints.
yeah, yeah, definitely commercial over residential. I think for that main reason would be just, and of course you always have the one-off homeowners that are bird dogging you and standing up
Ooh,
behind your back watching you.
yeah.
So,
I remember seeing some guys on like Instagram and TikTok.
mhm.
I know one of them is Adam Wolf of HVAC. Like they've filmed when a customer is right over their shoulder. I think Blue Collar Built was another one that's really good at dealing with customers.
Yeah,
Right. So
yes,
like, but I remember Adams in particular because he filmed it
hmm
with the guy like over his shoulder, And the whole time he's like, "Yes, I'm gonna fix it. Don't worry, we're cleaning it." He would talk him all the way through, and then at the end of the
Right.
call, the guy was like, "You did a great job." He was giving him such hassle throughout the whole
Mm.
thing, and then he was impressed and happy, which is great. But that's not always how it goes. You could have just a customer that doesn't want you there, or is upset that you're
Right.
there, or upset about the price or something. And I'll tell you. I mean, it goes back to the customer service part of it that I didn't understand. Like, I had to understand that part is you can't,
Hmm.
even though you're right, you can't always tell the customer that you can't always talk back or fire back or argue. It's not worth
Right.
arguing, and you have to let them lash out or do whatever they're going to do, and then just be polite and professional and walk away.
Yep. Yeah, I give mad respect to all my residential guys out there.
Yeah.
So
Plus, you're in
that's it.
Texas. I don't think you want to be in the attics either.
Oh no, no. I've had a couple addicts almost take me out before. So
That's a hard thing to deal with. You got to take care of yourself. I'm on rooftops, and I'm sure you've seen it too, like the white roofs, those sunny
mm,
days, and those can get you too. So just
yep.
remember to take care of yourself, and take those breaks and stuff. So with whichever one you do, I don't think one is lesser than the other. It's just
Right.
different things to watch out for.
For sure. For sure.
Was that always your goal? Like how many years were you doing this again?
This is my coming up on my 8th year right now,
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're
and
you're right in there.
that's including my time in the Marine Corps, 4 years in, and then about 5 years I've been out now. So
Yeah, you're right in there. It took me about that long to realize I should probably take this serious, and uh,
yeah.
I was thrown into it too early because when I started, like I said, I was like 20, and my dad
Hmm.
needed help with like the logo design and the business cards and all that kind of stuff. And then I would also go and help him. And then I got into HVAC, and I was just clocking in and out. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I just want to get out and go with my friends and stuff like that. So I've told people
Right.
like that seventh, eighth year is kind of when I flipped the switch a little bit. And I thought I was really good technically. That was my biggest thing.
Hmm.
And I could hang with the senior techs. I could do all that because I put in the time and effort after work, which is a big thing that I've talked to a lot with the guys starting out. That's how they're doing so well, because I've seen so many young people do really well right now, and it's all
Hmm.
the time and effort you put in after, which I know you understand because that test is a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
Because I did it when my kid was like born, like he was like one,
Oh
and
wow.
trying to study, and then
Dang.
but that also kept me focused because I was like, I'm doing it for him, right? Like I
Keeps
wanted
you
to
sharp. Yeah.
build that up. I just had this talk with somebody like my dad is leaving, or technically started this company, is leaving it to me. That was his biggest goal, and that's what he wanted to give to us because it's me and my brother that work for him. And
Hmm.
I'm never gonna sell it. I want to give it to my kids. I want to pass it on. So that's something that I've
Right.
always been focused on, and that's kind of kept me on track to, hey, you need to get your shit together and get your
Yeah.
license, get all this built up, and make sure this company can run. My goal was to have it run on its own without me in the field, which is
Hmm.
currently happening. So
Awesome.
we're getting there.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. That's definitely, yeah. That's a goal of mine. I don't want to hang on to it if it's, because they say a lot of times in business people hang on to a business longer than they should just because they have an attachment to it. It's like their baby.
Yeah.
They built it up into this big thing, and they don't want to sell it, or they think it's worth more than what people are willing to offer for it. Um, but I think I'm definitely going to be one of those people. I don't think I'll sell out. I definitely want to keep it, and build something that lasts. So
It's hard because I've heard those business, like those coaches and those people that give advice,
mhm.
And I hear that, and I'm like, yeah, they just don't understand. Like, I'm a sentimental guy. Like, I hold on to things that I shouldn't.
Right.
Now, I'm not a hoarder. I will go through and get rid of a whole bunch of crap. So I'm not that level. But
Right.
if something means to me, like I have a classic car right now that my dad gave me for my birthday, a decade ago or so. It's still there. It's collecting rust right now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the year that I'm gonna fix it. Um, but we got it and we fixed it up a little bit, and it ran, and we used it. I used it a lot just as a
Hmm.
personal vehicle, and it's a 63, and
Oh wow. Nice.
yeah, and he's even told me, he's like, you might want to sell that and just buy another one. That he's like, they don't cost much if you want like a classic car, right? Like you can probably afford it. I was like,
Hmm.
I was like, no, that was a birthday gift. You gave it to me. We fixed it up.
Right.
I've worked on it so much, and even I have a cousin that's into classic cars too, and he's like sending me like listings of cars that he finds. He's like, why don't you just buy another one? I'm like, dude, I really want to try like to keep this car, and it's
Right.
it's more sentimental to me than anything else, and I know my kids will love it too because it's a 4 door. I was like, I feel comfortable taking them in that car because it's
Hmm.
safer than most. And I was like, I can't let it go. So currently in the process of having a mechanic fix it right now because some stuff went wrong with it. But I was like, if I can still keep it, I'm going to keep it. And I feel the same exact way with my business
Yeah.
because, and my dad has told me, he's like, you better not freaking sell this thing. I was like, no, dude, like you're good. You built up, this is like a legacy thing. Like you built up this legacy. You've helped so many guys out because he would hire and train people that didn't know anything of this industry, and then now they have good jobs at other places. All like you've done that. You've done that with us
Right.
as well. Because even though we don't do the same trade, I wouldn't have found HVAC without him. Right? He
Hmm.
wanted somebody that did HVAC in the business, and I was like, I'll do it. So that was how I got in. I was like, I wouldn't have all this if it wasn't for that. So
Yeah.
the only reason I would sell at any point, because I have to be realistic, is if my kids didn't want it.
Hmm.
If they were successful at something else, I'm like, okay, like whenever I can't do it, then I got to sell it, obviously. But other than
I get it.
that, other than that, I would pass it on. No matter because I get emails and messages all the time. Hey, we buy companies. We would love to talk to you. I just
Yeah.
delete those.
Trash. Yeah.
Yeah, instantly. So something that I've been doing more now as we expand and hire people is training. Something that I've dealt with in the past is dealing with customers and their weird complaints. Where we can get help on those two fronts is actually the software called LiveSwitch. Now, LiveSwitch actually helped a lot of big sporting events. So they have a very capable system in place to where they handle a lot of things during COVID for your NBA, NFL, WWE. Whenever they had those virtual fans, that was LiveSwitch. They also helped with the 911 call where they can have these video calls and different ways of phoning in an emergency. And now they are helping out home service businesses because the guy that actually runs it ran a home service business himself and actually knows the difficulties and tasks as a business owner, employees, and all that comes with it. You need something that does more than just a FaceTime call. With LiveSwitch, you can do these video calls to any device that has a browser built in, and it is just a link that the customer or one of your technicians clicks on. Once you click on that link, you get end-to-end video. So if you're interested and you want to check out LiveSwitch for yourself, make sure to check out the link down below. And I think this is a game changer. And there's so much other things that I just have not even scratched the surface on. It has a lot of AI built into it. It is just meant to make this experience with your employees and technicians or your customers seamless and just a better experience for both sides.
Yeah. It's funny. I kind of got thrown into HVAC too. It wasn't the job that I picked going into the Marine Corps. Um,
Really? I was going to
I
ask, like,
picked.
did you pick it or did you fall into
Yeah.
it?
No, not at all. not, I didn't even know that was like a job that the Marine Corps offered. I thought it was just, gun or infantry, artillery, like,
Yeah.
grunt job, stuff like that. Um, I found out after boot camp, that I was going to be a refrigeration mechanic. And I was like, dude, I don't even know anything about any of this, like this is all foreign to me. And, yeah, as soon as I started doing it and actually got out into the field and got to do my job, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Um, I was the guy everybody would call when they wanted, cold air in their tents,
Yeah.
and you get hookups from all the higher ups by giving them cold air. They give you some good chow, some snacks or something. So,
Now that's another thing that residential guys like is when they get treated well, right? Because the
oh yeah,
customer's so happy. So that is the thing in my world. Because I don't know what kind of commercial you do. Because I do restaurants. They're always trying to feed you, and
yeah,
for for a while, I gained way too much weight, and I had to put a stop to that. I had to lose like 50 pounds.
yeah. That's one of the feelings I miss doing residential is, you know, helping someone out, fixing their problem, and then just like seeing like the relief or like, that good feeling that
Yeah.
you actually help someone out. Um, you don't get a lot of that in commercial. At least we're the commercial that I do. I usually deal with store managers that could care less if their refrigerator's broken or not. I mean, they don't. They just work there. You know what I mean? They're not.
Yeah. Well, that goes
So
both ways. Because like I do restaurant work, right? Mostly. I've gone
okay.
into restaurants where I pull a thermostat off the wall and there's a bunch of rodents or roaches or whatever,
Mm,
and I'm like, hey, I show the manager and she's like, it's whatever, right? It's not their problem. I'm like, all right. So I run into those often, and then I run into others
mm,
that are super thankful because it's me dealing with freezers and stuff like that. Like they could lose a lot of product. I mean, they
right.
should have a. I feel like they don't though. They should have a system in place. I know they have like the trucks that come out so that they don't lose product or anything like
Mm,
that. But I think one of them I work for does not have anything in place. So either we fix it or they lose all that product. So
wow.
on those ends, I do get thanked and they're grateful and all that kind of stuff. So I see it both ways where they don't care and they're grateful. The ones that get annoying to me is because I've had it a couple times. Well, I've had it a lot of times, but recently I had it happen. But I'm there to fix something, and I'm there to
Right.
like like try to help them out, and I gotta either reschedule or something comes up or whatever it is. Like I'm trying to get it, and I got this old man over my shoulder, and I'm trying to figure out like what's his problem, and it's happened at different locations. And then I find out that the dude is like a dishwasher or like a part timer or, and I'm like, why do you care? It's not your money. Like,
Right.
get off my back.
That's the most interesting thing that's happened to their all month, probably.
Yeah, and then they
So
wanna pick a fight because that's the action they get.
I got something in the mail when I first formed my LLC stating I had to put some sort of signage at my permanent business location. I guess like OSHA laws
Oh,
or something. And I'm like, they're like, put it in a common. It has to be displayed in a common area. And I'm like, do you want me to put it in my living room or like in my garage? Like, where do you want me to hang this?
yeah, it's always because even when I did it, when we did all that, I mean that a lot of that fell on my dad, so he figured that out
Hmm.
early on, but me getting my license and seeing all the regulations too, like, being a license holder and the way you have to go about, like, which still gets me upset right now because, like, I see people working at some of the restaurants, that I've worked at or as a second opinion sometimes, or,
Hmm.
because sometimes we're one of like two or three companies that go out to these locations because we charge overtime and they get upset, they call somebody else. So I mean,
Right.
let them work on the weekend for whatever rate that they charge, right? So it's
Hmm.
I value my time, so we charge more to deter that. So it's worked, and I get my weekends back. So it's a win-win for us. But I see these vans out there because I'll drive by, just in my commute, and I see a van at a
Mhm.
at a spot that I know, and it's unmarked, or it doesn't have or it doesn't have a license number on it, or I've seen some that have the wrong license, and
Okay.
that's part of the being a contractor is you have to have your name and license on any
Right.
vehicle on the job site. And I'm like, do these guys get reported? Probably not. It's whatever, right?
Yeah.
So you never know, but you would hate for it to happen to you. So like that was my
Exactly.
mindset.
Yeah.
I don't want my name on that. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but if you go to the website, the TDLR,
Hmm.
they're gonna show you everybody that's been fined. And I was like, I would hate for my name to pop up there.
Wow. I did not know that.
I think it's still there. I know they changed their website a few years ago, and I
Hmm.
haven't really like looked at the news site. But before you could, and I would go in there and look at it, and I would recognize some of the names on there. It
No
wasn't a
kidding.
lot, but there was some on there.
Yeah, that's definitely been a big one for me. But other than that, I mean, I would say it's the regular issues that people run into, like setting up the bank account, um, opening up accounts at these suppliers. Um, and that's something that I underestimated is having an account. Like you need to have an account with multiple different suppliers.
Yeah.
Um, Not just have like your one go-to. I know because I know a lot of guys will sell a certain brand of equipment. Like they, like, oh, we only install Goodman
Oh, I don't
equipment.
do that.
Yeah. Um, and it's like it just I don't know, it just puts you in a tight spot when you're like that and you're committed to one
Yeah.
brand or one supplier.
Well, that's a good point. I don't think that's come up yet in the recent conversations I've had. But
Hmm.
the because I do think an account is very important, right? You open up an account, you can put, they give you a certain credit limit. You can do that or use that in the meantime while you get paid. Put it on the account, all that kind of stuff. We don't have one anymore. We pay everything cash, so it doesn't matter for us too much. But
Okay.
that's a whole other story. It was those were the employees that we had in the beginning when we hired too quickly. So
Mm.
I always bring this up because a friend of mine, Josh, who was on the show, HVAC guide for homeowners, and he has two channels now, but he said something that I'll never forget is like evaluate your business during the slow times and see how much you can afford as far as like employees and anything that you want to buy during that time versus a summer when you feel like you need to hire like 10 people, right? So
Right.
that was a big thing that stuck with me, and we're seeing it right now because last year and this year I've been evaluating during like this season, and we didn't listen to that in the beginning. We're like, oh, we need to hire, we need to do this and that, and we hired people, and we lost a ton of money. Like we couldn't even pay these guys after a while. Like it was just bad, but it fell on them too. They would run up that account. They would buy parts over and over. And I've told people I was able after we let them go, I was able to run calls for a few months just on the parts that piled up in their van because they never
Oh
looked
wow.
and it was messy, and they kept buying parts that they already had. And like I was like, no
Hmm.
wonder our account went up, and they actually locked us out at the supply house because we kept going over. And it was a whole issue because it took us a while to pay back and all that. So we had those
Right.
struggles, right? But I will say having an account is a big deal, like you said, because it buys you time to start up your income and get all that recurring income started. But
Right.
do not stay at one. So like we have our main one that I like to go to because they treat us good. They always take care of us. They always warranty stuff, no hassle. And if I do get an issue with one of the new guys, the new counter guys, I will go back and
Hmm.
drag out somebody from the back that I know. Come fix this right now, because all the guys that I came up with that were counter guys are now the guys running it. Right, they're in the back
Yeah.
office. So now I got to go pull them out. I'm like, can you tell your guy to help me out here? Because like
Look, man.
I'm not trying to take advantage, but this stuff is under warranty. But
Yeah.
don't don't stay at one place, because we have multiple accounts, because like we deal with Johnstone. They're known for kind of
Mhm.
upcharging on certain items. So like if I know that, I'm going to go to the next supply house that might have some stuff cheaper or a different brand that we work with. So I don't deal with like I don't sell a certain brand. We're not a dealer or anything like that for anything. It's a little
Mhm.
different on commercial, because the customer can also buy their own stuff. So yeah, don't stay with
Right.
one, and look around, and get these accounts, and we take advantage of that. Certain places will give us good pricing on this certain item.
Mhm.
Johnstone, just their customer service is the best. I like going there, so that's kind of how we
Right.
spread ourselves, and we always have a way to get parts.
I mean, I actually thought about doing the having like a part delivery. I know some places are doing that now, where
Yeah,
they're pretty much door dashing parts to the site, and you can literally like Uber Eats your capacitor to the job site. So
there's a few, because I tried Blue On at one point, and they listed Insco as one of those that does that, and
okay.
I think Johnstone offers it, but I haven't really taken advantage of it.
Yeah, I
Um,
haven't tested it out.
yeah, so but to like my point on parts is also, because I've gotten after guys that don't stock their van, and
Hmm.
we get to a job site and we know we're doing like a walk-in or something of that nature, and I've gotten after some of my guys, like, why don't you have the solenoid valve, the coil? Why don't you have the fittings that you need, or whatever it is? I was like, if you know ahead of time, I expect you to have the parts. And I try to, I don't just say this, I do it myself. My van is stocked, because my dad just got after one of them recently. He's like, why aren't you like Adrian? Adrian has everything that he needs. Every time he goes to a job, he doesn't have to run to the supply house. I was like, if you've been doing this for a while, you should know what you need. And I carry, the common parts that I use almost every day. So I've never had to use a delivery thing, because I usually try to keep my van stocked as well as I can. And when you're
Right.
starting out, you should always you should charge well, right, to cover your costs, but also to cover
Mhm.
some of your stock. Like if you go do a fan motor, if it's a cheaper one, I know there's some that are crazy, but try to charge enough to buy two, and then that's your stock, right? You're investing in yourself when you start.
Right.
That's how we started. Like I bought two of everything, and then all of a sudden I had stock, and then after that, it was all profit.
Yeah, I know if I'm going to if I'm doing a mobile home, I know I'm definitely going to be bringing some coil cleaner with me. And
Oh yeah.
there's certain calls where you're going to need, you have a general idea of what you're going to need. So I actually just saw your one of your videos. It was like a majority of my day as a commercial HVAC, and it's just driving around, going
Yeah.
going from site to site, and that cannot be more true. I think I swear half my day some days is just driving around, going from one place to another.
Well, because we're talking with like residential techs, and
Hmm.
sometimes sometimes it's arguing with residential techs, because they're like, I run 10 calls a day and this and that, and I've had some of the, even the influencer people, like
Hmm.
get at me for things, and I'm like, dude, like what you see online is like just a fraction of what I do. So like I do
Hmm.
a lot during my day, but I had an argument, because, or with a few, because, and I hate when I hear that. I run 10 calls, and whatever, and I'm running all day. I was like, that's nice, but that's not everybody. You don't have to run 10 calls a day, right? Like, you
Yeah.
take your time on each call. You might run less, but as a commercial tech, it's a very different view, because we service 2 hours each way at minimum,
Hmm.
because we are expanding to one area. We're gonna go like all the way to Laredo now, and that's
Oh,
like
nice.
three
Okay.
hours from me. So we're expanding.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I could run 2 to 3 calls a day just because of the drive, but we're
Right.
charging for like all this time. I'm still making my money, but I'm
Yeah.
not running 10 calls a day. There's no way.
Yeah. I used to, that's one thing I don't miss either from residential would be, you know, you got 5 or 6 calls on your board that day, and they're all over the place, and you're just like, man, like I don't know when today's gonna end, but
Yeah, and it again, like the part discussion we had, like that comes with experience and time. Like you'll know what you need after a while. So like that comes with time, and
right.
the same thing as the work that you do and how quickly you can do it. Because like, yeah, now I kind of like, I know based on a call or complaint like how long it should take me. Now it doesn't always take me what I think. It could be longer, it could be
Mm-hmm.
quicker. But back when I had first started, uh sometimes I would spend all day on one call just because I was so
Mm-hmm.
new and I didn't know what I was doing, and it was just frustrating. But and that's kind of my one of my points to earlier where I said I miss being slow is I could take my time on calls and I could figure it out by
Yeah.
experience. And I had, the time to do one call for the whole day. As embarrassing as it was and all that. But, with time, you get better, you do them quicker. That first time you do it, it might take you 4 or 5 hours. The next time it takes you, less time, and then it keeps getting better and better. So,
Right.
it's just, it sometimes you run these calls and you, like my days, 2 to 3 calls, 4 calls is a good day, 4 to 5.
Right.
And it's just different for commercial. And I personally like having that little break in between where you got like 20, 30 minutes to drive to the next one, or an hour sometimes. And you can kind of
Yeah.
decompress until you get to the next call. Because sometimes
Reset.
those calls can like really kick your ass.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Have you had
Mm.
any of those days where it's like frustrating or hard to um, figure out?
More than I'd like to admit. Yeah.
So
Um,
what is a training process in the Marines, as far as like when you go for refrigeration or HVAC? Since you said
dude, it's like a 12 week. It's a 12 week course, like
really,
crammed into 3 months. Yeah. Um, you touch the basics. I mean, you do touch equipment. You do you go through the recovery. You learn all your basic fundamentals, refrigeration fundamentals and stuff. And that's about it. I mean, you get about 2 weeks of troubleshooting, and that's anything from a mechanical to electrical to the refrigeration cycle and everything. But it's not nearly enough, information to actually go out there and work on a unit after that. You definitely gotta get your hands on. So I would say, I mean, thankfully I had a really good instructor. That dude was a complete nerd when it came to HVAC, and he taught me a lot of things that like I still use, like little tricks that I use today, even that I've still carried, with me. And so, like he was the first one that taught me about putting a piece of duct board over the condenser fan motor. You know what I'm saying? To
oh
raise the
yeah,
pressure and stuff like that, and just like little stuff like that. So
and
things you wouldn't learn in a
I was gonna
classroom.
say those are things that they don't teach you
Right.
through textbook or any of that, because that was stuff even myself I figured out later because I went to trade school
Hmm.
and I had really great teachers, but I think I valued like the textbook part because I do see a benefit of doing some sort of training or school. Like I do see a benefit because I was going out there already knowing like you said, your basics, how to use a recovery, how to vacuum, how to read things and all that. And then
Yeah.
the terminology, and then just not being so green when you get to a actual job, right?
Yeah.
So there is that benefit, but the textbook is nothing like the real world.
No.
And And what I valued more was when our teachers, uh, uh, two of them worked for the school, like in their mechanical room for like the chillers and stuff, and then two of
Hmm.
them owned a business. So I had a few different teachers, and what I valued more was when they would come in and talk to us about their work, like about their work week or what they did,
Okay.
a call that they did right before. That's what
Right.
I valued more because you find the weird calls or the weird fixes that they had to do, and it's like, oh, okay, and those are the things that stick with you because yeah, like I knew superheat and subcool, but I didn't know what to do, in certain situations when you're there on the spot trying to fix this. So that was
Yeah.
one of the tricks that I learned later was, if a fan goes out and you don't have one, you can also cover that area where the fan is so that your
Hmm.
coil can still run, whether it's a walk-in or a condenser, whatever it is,
Right.
evaporator or condenser. Like you can patch up that broken or that bad motor so that it doesn't ice up like on a walk-in, and the airflow still goes through the coil versus bypassing it. And you can do that with a condenser too. If a motor gives out, you can patch up that or cover it until you get
Hmm.
that motor. So those are little things that you learned. And my like I said, my mentor that we subcontracted is the one that I learned a lot from, and he gave everyone crap, like everybody that we worked with, and a lot of I just we recently brought it up in one of our meetings, and one of our senior techs is still with us, and he's like, I hated him, he hated me, and he was just bad mouthing. I'm like, dude, he loved me. Like we got
Yeah.
along, but he took me under his wing to teach me like tips and tricks. So that I value the most. It's like you said, I still use that stuff to this day to get me out
Right.
of a bind, especially on a weekend. And he was one of those that I could call even after he left to figure out things. And my dad would always be
Hmm.
like, just call him, just, pick his brain and see what he thinks. And, all that stuff helped tremendously because you can only learn so much in school.
Right. Yeah. Doing solo. So I do solo commercial HVAC right now. I don't have like anyone that I work with on a daily basis, and so
So you had
that's
to
been a
figure it out.
huge. Yeah, that's been a huge learning experience. When you got no one to call, it's 4 or 5 p.m. on a Friday, and you're sitting here, and the system's still doing the same thing. 8 hours later, after you've done your repair and got it vacuumed and charged up, it's still freezing up, and you're like, dude.
Yeah.
So,
So we had that guy to
mhm,
jumpstart us. He didn't stay there that long. So I was still, my dad heavily relied on me for these calls that we started getting. And I
mhm,
was in the process of getting my license. So like I took the license just to get it because it's a lot of book heavy, right? It's not,
right,
it doesn't really matter how much experience you have to take that test. And I mean, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but Uh, so I was in the middle of getting it, and I still didn't have a ton of experience. And the guy that I did do some work for and got signed off for, he did residential. So like that stuff didn't even apply to what we did
mhm,
as commercial technicians, right? So I got mine in a my experience in a whole different variety of ways, and it just didn't apply to what I did. So I understand that too because if I couldn't fix it or if I didn't know how to do it when we didn't have that guy, my dad would look at me and he's like, well, if you don't know, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what we're going to do. So I always
mhm,
had that weight on my shoulders.
yeah,
So I get it. You starting out and trying to figure it out on the fly because that was me for a good amount of time. And we
mhm,
were getting calls because my dad was so good at networking. We were getting calls like crazy after a while from school districts and hospitals and you know uh, we did some restaurant work, but those are all three different industries where the
right,
coolers do not look the same across those
completely
different.
different equipment.
Yeah, I went like you said, you spent all day trying to fix something. So I would go to calls like for the school district, and they
Mm-hmm.
had open case coolers. I didn't know what the hell that was. I was like, how does it cool when it's out in the open? Like I didn't understand air curtains and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to fix it, and then like you said, like I would make it worse sometimes, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I put the wrong dryer in one time, and I caused a restriction, and I was like, oh, don't do that next time. I put a smaller dryer in there, and it just messed the whole thing up.
Yeah.
After all that work that we did, because I was working with somebody, but I got left alone or something, like to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot what we fixed on it, but like all that work that we did, I remember being there a long time. And the last thing I had to do was put in the dryer and then charge it up and you vacuum, charge it, and start it. And then we got to do all that again because I put the wrong freaking dryer.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn.
Yeah, you do. You learn. You hopefully learn quick, but
That's my thing. As long as you don't, because when I tell my guys right now, like as long as you don't make the same mistake again,
right.
it's forgiven because that was a lesson learned. Now, if you keep doing it, it's not learned, and I'm gonna get after you.
Yeah, mistakes are definitely going to happen. They're usually they're not preventable until you've already experienced it. Then you know what to look out for and what to
And
how to get
honestly,
around.
they help you because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like you've been on social media, so in the past, like when I started social media, the only thing that kind of irked me a little bit was the guys that would only show like the super clean installs or like the picture perfect calls, right?
Yes.
That's what got me a little bit in the beginning. Now I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody shows everything, but I was like, man, that's not realistic because you
Yeah.
know when does your day go as planned or perfect? So
Right.
you're gonna make mistakes regardless. I still make mistakes to this day. I get so upset at myself when it happens, and I realize most of the time it's because I'm rushing. So that's usually
Mm-hmm.
when I tell my guys, I don't want you all rushing. I don't want callbacks. Take your time. And I told our apprentices right now, if it takes you half a day or more to do something, just do it. I'll figure out the schedule. I'll figure out something. I would rather them I'd rather them not make mistakes, but they're gonna happen. And the only thing we can do to not make stupid mistakes is to, take your time on the calls. Cause that was
Right.
the biggest thing for me is rushing. And like I said, when I make mistakes now, it's usually because I'm rushing. So that's a big thing.
I'll tend to get ahead of myself, especially doing where it's like there's multiple different processes in the repair. So
I
if I'm
also
doing
have
like a recovery,
I also have ADD,
brazing, and
so if they give me several things to work on, I tend to just try to do them all at once.
yeah, yeah, I'll have like four different doors off, and I'll be pulling a vacuum while replacing a motor, and
You just got
everything's
to be
just going.
careful.
Somehow it all,
Yeah, I was gonna say you just got to be careful when you do that because then you get distracted on one.
right. Somehow it all pulls together at some point, but
Yeah,
you know,
so those are mistakes, or mistakes are how you learn. That is
Mhm.
because everybody says there's nothing like hands-on experience, and that's also the mistakes that you learn from. So that's a big thing because, like you said, until you live it, you're not gonna know some of these things. Like I had one that always comes to mind where we had a defrost, well, we had a walk-in freezer, and we changed something on it. It could have been the evaporator or something or a compressor. I don't remember what it was, but we were having to wire in a new defrost clock, and the unit wasn't coming on. We did everything, and this has happened several times where I'm like, I did everything right. I know I did everything right. I did the vacuum. I did my diagnostics was correct. Like I know what the problem was. We vacuumed.
Mhm.
We did everything right. I pulled it down. No leaks. And we had this one that just would not run afterwards. I think we stayed there late trying to figure it out because it was a call that we did at the end of the day. And I was with my brother and couldn't figure it out. and it was a freaking loose wire. So something you don't think to do, right? Like to go back and like tighten everything. It was a
Yeah.
freaking, it was on a bolt and it just came loose because we didn't tighten that bolt. And I tightened it and the thing kicked on and I was like, no way. I went inside and the unit ran and it was working great. And my brother happened to like follow me, tell me in there. And then I started cursing out in the walk-in. And he just like quietly stepped back and walked back outside. And he told my dad, he's like, I've never heard him cuss like that. I was like, he's like, just let him. It was a rough day.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the worst, especially whenever you're working like something with the refrigeration part of the system, and then you didn't touch anything on the electrical or anything like
Yeah.
that, and you go start it back up, and you're like, dude, now I gotta chase an electrical issue. Like, oh, yeah, those are some tough days for sure.
So every now and then I get challenged, and it's like a competitor, right? That we deal with.
Hmm.
So the other thing that I've always said is be confident but not cocky, right? Because when you get cocky, you make mistakes or you look bad, you know, different things. But on the other side of that, you got to be confident in, you know, the stuff that you learned and the stuff that you do,
Hmm.
because I never used to be confident, and my dad would always get after me. He's like, you know your shit. Like you either you either know it or you don't, but I know you know your shit. So whatever your diagnosis is, like he was always like, we're gonna go with that. And I was always like, I don't know, like I don't want to do that, and it doesn't work. Like I was always like, you know, scared
Right.
about that kind of stuff, especially trying to get work and you know, being a new company and all that. But after a while, I had to be confident because I'm like, no, I double checked, I triple checked. Like this is what it is. I'm pretty confident, and this is my diagnosis. Because lately, or like several years ago, we've had second opinions. So another thing I've told my guys is always pretend like somebody's watching your work while you're working, or that somebody's going to come in after you and inspect your work, because the last thing I want is somebody to talk crap about, you know, what I did, or I left a mess, or he did this or he did that.
Right.
So, and I'll tell you, it actually has happened where they get a second opinion, and I'm like, they can't say anything bad about my work because I made sure that I
Mhm.
left it neat and I did it right. So I've had that instance where somebody does try to make up something, and I go and check a compressor, and I tell the customer like, it's I think that one was leaking internally or something like that, bypassing. Something
Mhm.
was wrong where the pressures were coming up way too high. And I was like, no, this compressor is it's bypassing, or I think it was. I'm trying to remember what it was. And the compressor was over amping and it was tripping and like all this other stuff. Like I could not get it to run. We took it out. We weighed it in. We vacuumed it down. Like there was no leaks.
Mhm.
It was a lot of a big process to do this diagnosis on a bad compressor. I'm like, I am confident, right? It's a compressor. It's a
Mhm.
super old system, so I recommended a newer walk-in box, right? A complete top and bottom, because it was
Right.
rusted out. The compressor was bad. I was like, with all that, you know, you need a new system. Second opinion comes in because they didn't want to pay, and says, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I can fix it. Uh, he was gonna fix something on the line. It was something with a low pressure switch. He had to unsolder it and redo it, and like he made it. He did do it a nice job because I did get to see it, but
Mhm.
that compressor lasted one day, and then he ended up getting having to. I'm pretty sure he gave a discount or something because he ended up doing a whole change out for them. And I looked at them and I'm like, I told you you needed a whole system. It wasn't worth
Mhm.
fixing, and you paid this guy twice to do something I could have done.
Yeah.
So, you know, in those instances, I have to be firm on what I believe,
Right.
because, you know, it can bite you in the ass when you try to work with the customer that maybe wants a lower price or maybe wants you to fix something that shouldn't be fixed. So, like, those are things that I had to learn too. And now I'm like super confident because I will always offer. repair unless I know I'm going to get a call back or I know it's not going to last.
That's what a true technician does. I think that's
Yeah.
the you should always offer the repair first, and I think that's kind of like lacking in this specifically in this trade, and even more specifically in my neck of the woods. I see
I can
people just
imagine.
going quoting new systems. Let's just get them to the 454. Let's just get them out of the 410 unit. And I'm like, that is not the
No,
way to
yeah.
do it.
So, man, yeah, because like I work on old equipment all the time and I tell them I can
Mhm.
get you going if we do this repair. And I don't have R22, but I'll do like the changeover to like a replacement refrigerant.
Like a
I'm
drop
like, I'll
hole.
do
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I'll do all that if you want.
Hmm.
And I'll just tell them if it should be replaced or if it's fine. Because sometimes I'll tell them it's fine. It's in mint condition. I don't have to do anything to it except change the refrigerant. All right, cool.
Going off of that second opinion, I've recently had one where I'd replaced the TXV. It was on this 20-ton split system carrier, and hands down, probably one of the top three hardest repairs I've made. I mean, brazing that TXV in was not for the weak. That was a tough one. But I got everything, vacuum, charged it up, and it was still icing up. My evaporator was still icing up. So I went to go ahead and troubleshoot. I was like, maybe I cooked the TXV. And so, took my sensing bulb off, put it in hot water, made sure it was open and closing properly. Um, Ended up determining that the distribution tubes were clogged on on the TXV that I had just replaced. Um, and so I left the unit, with the sensing bulb off, let the customer know. They had a second opinion come out and they troubleshooted it. And they said the reason it wasn't working is because whoever installed the TXV left the sensing bulb off. They said he didn't install it properly. I'm like, oh my goodness, man.
Hey, make sure you
So,
write everything down when you
yeah,
do stuff and take
document,
pictures.
document,
Yeah.
document. Yeah. Before and after, like, of the space of anything. I mean, I've had customers before trying to say that we broke their concrete on their driveway or something. Like we created this crack and we didn't have a before picture of it. So we were kind of just, it
See,
was kind of like a he said, she said kind of thing. And it's just,
yeah. See,
you
that's
can
the
get
whole
into some
thing.
sticky stuff with that. So,
That's the whole thing is like when I started, my YouTube channel and just kind of taking a lot of pictures and filming.
mm-hmm.
It was not as common as it is now because everybody's doing content now, which is great. I love seeing it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't super common then. So people were looking at me funny or why would you do this or why would you do that? It actually helped my business because I had before and after photos as well. So
Mm-hmm.
now it's all about documenting, right? And I'm like, well, I have YouTube videos that I can go back to if I ever need to look at something, but
Right.
you know, my phone is filled with a bunch of random work photos,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You have pictures of before and after or nameplates or I tell my guys if you see something funny or like and I don't mean like laughing funny, I mean like bad work that you come
Mm-hmm.
across or something that looks odd, take a picture and make sure we don't get blamed for that cuz
Right.
again, sometimes I deal with multiple companies that go out to these locations, which gets me upset. But then at the end of the day, it's a business. Like they're gonna do what's best for them or what's convenient for them. So I had to get over that part of it. But I've gone to a system, and the customer won't tell you. The customer, and there's people like that, like you said, like that try to take advantage of. Oh, they were here. Let me try and get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I deal with customers that try to do the blame game, and it's not all of them, but it's some of them. And we go out there, and one of them just did that to me. But we're cool. It's just I was like, we weren't working on that when we were here. It was something else. But I've had that where you go and it's like you were just here, or one of your guys was just here, or whatever it is. And then I go and look at it, and sometimes I take for granted that nobody else was there. I'm like, oh, it had to have been me. So I had one where I was looking for a leak. I'm like, why did it leak out and this and that? And then like I pulled the unit out and I looked behind in the back and there is a where the copper had to T. It was like a little
Mm-hmm.
T fitting. Somebody did not have enough heat or something. Somebody else replaced that little section, and it had like a just a big booger of a brazing rod laid on it,
Volcano
and you
explosion.
yeah, and you could see like that it was leaking out. I'm like, okay, that wasn't me. I was like, I know what I did last time. It was electrical. I did not even braze on
Right.
this thing. So you had somebody else come out here. So I can fix what they did, but it's going to cost you. It's not a callback. And you just never know. So I always tell my guys, take pictures. Something seems odd or funny, or the customer says something, just document it and cover your ass. I mean, that's what we've
Yeah.
been talking about in our last meeting is cover your ass.
Yep. CYA.
And what was the other one? I had another one recently that I did a video on for the walk-in cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody installed the TXV, and again, it was all these booger spots. And I was like, if they
Right.
had just done it right the first time, I wouldn't be out here. But I'll cut it out and redo it for you, and we'll go from there. And that's an older system too. Well, the condenser's newer, but like I didn't sell them a new unit. I was like, we can fix it.
Right.
It's just going to cost you a little bit because I got to cut out that piece. So, do you have any family, any kids, or anything going on?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Well, I
So
do
you
have a
got
family. I mean, I
yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
kids, nothing like
Immediate
that.
family.
No.
Um,
Yeah.
how do you stay sane or balance yourself out? Because I think you had mentioned mental health in our
Mhm.
form here. Is that anything that's hard for you? Like the lifestyle or the work from your day job to what you do after work?
Yeah. I think a main thing is just decompressing. I think that's like been the key to keeping like the same level of um, just the same level of doing things is decompressing each day. So for me, it's sometimes it's going to the gym, sometimes it's just coming and watching somebody else's shitty day that they had in HVAC, their shitty call that they had,
You know
makes
how
me feel better.
how many people think it's weird that we watch other HVAC content like after work, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It sometimes it helps.
it does 100%. Yeah. Um, yeah, and then I guess just since because I work alone mostly, I don't really come into contact with other technicians and stuff. So um, I would say having like that, being able to have that support system. So building like that, like having coworkers or someone that you can talk to that understands,
Oh yeah.
like like wow, yeah, that is shitty. Like I know exactly what you're dealing with or something like that. So having someone that can relate. Um, if you go home and talk to your wife or someone and you're like, yeah, I had this TXV and it just, they're like, oh, yeah, that sucks. But like, it's just not like a full comprehension of,
Well,
wow,
I'll
like
get
actually.
into. I'll kind of interject here. I've had
Hmm.
in my HVAC career two relationships. So in the first one,
Okay.
did not care what I did, did not care about my day, and
Mhm.
and I don't want to talk bad about it, but like it wasn't the same as I have now, where I can vent to her about my day, and she'll try to understand what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, it's not like I don't expect them to know what a TXV is or what issue I had, but like they can listen. I
Hmm.
will say that that kind of change for me has helped a lot too, where
Hmm.
I can have my bad day and kind of talk about it, or
Right.
just have somebody that understands I had a bad day and I can't immediately go into doing something right after work.
Hmm.
Because that was another thing. Like, if I have that kind of day, give me a little bit of time to decompress. Like you said, like
Right.
get over it. And I have that support now, and I think that makes a big difference. And she's been great because she's into all the social media stuff that I do now. I even keep her up to date on that kind of stuff, like how that works, and
Oh, no.
being able to talk to her about that and kind of throwing ideas to her and getting her opinion. Which I
Mm-hmm.
will say, I forgot. I don't think I've mentioned this, but when we started our business,
Mm-hmm.
just reminded me. And I talk about marketing and I talk about like kind of what we did to get our name out there. My mom was a big factor in that, so I used her
Really?
as like a civilian, as hey, how does this look? How does I ran everything by her, and she
Mm-hmm.
was always honest. If it sucked, it sucked, and if she didn't like it, she would let me know, and that's how I ran my designs and my marketing. And what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Now that's kind of my girlfriend. I still run it by my mom, but I kind of do
Right.
that with my girlfriend now because I want to know if you're not an HVAC tech, does this appeal to you, or does it
Mhm.
look good, or any stand out, any of that kind of stuff. So that's been helpful too. And I remembered that I used to do that, with my mom in mind, and
Right.
that kind of helped me as well. So definitely now being able to not I don't lash out, but like just vent
Mm-hmm.
and get it out there, and then I'm like, okay, now I feel better. Now I'm over it.
Yeah.
Now I can move on, and don't let it eat you either, because I used to do that. Is go home pissed off, worry about it all night, worry about
Mm-hmm.
it until the next day, and then like that kind of ruins your next day.
Right. Yeah, it usually always ends up being something smaller than what you make it. It's usually, you know,
Yeah.
I try to leave it all in the van. Like when I get out of the van, it stays in there, and I try not to take it in the house or, bring it into like like when I'm talking with my buddies. Like when I'm hanging out with my buddies, I don't want to be talking about my shitty days at work. Like I'd rather just be, talking about other stuff we want to talk about. So
Yeah, you don't want to bring all that into your personal space. Like you
right.
do, because another thing is people want you to eat, sleep, HVAC. Like they want you to do eat, breathe, and sleep HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Like you're gonna hustle, you're gonna put a lot into it. It's gonna feel like that, but you do need a separation of some sort, or
Right.
it's gonna drive you crazy. Like there's no way around it. You can be obsessed with what you do, but don't let
Mm-hmm.
it like overtake other areas of your life. So I made it a point because when I was younger, I took advantage of I would work late or work overnight or work weekends, and it didn't matter as much as it does now because now I have kids. I don't want to
Right.
do that. Like I always had that goal in mind, like to not work so much, but I did a lot of it in the beginning. And if I did that now, like I would go crazy. So I've tried to put things in place and separate it, and then on the weekends or when I can. I mean, I still work sometimes. It just happens, but
Mm-hmm.
I try to make that time with my kids and our family, and that
Right.
helps tremendously because that's a whole different life after work. Like you don't have to do this 24/7. You can have a life outside of work.
Right.
It's okay.
Well,
Like
and that's
that's
why you're
okay.
doing. Right. That's why you're
Yeah.
doing this, doing it for too, is to be able to enjoy that life after work. So, you know, I definitely think keeping it, yeah, having that separation and being able to not let it, not let it get into the thing that you're working for. Don't let it sit there and, infect that. And
You don't live to work, you work to live, and you just have
right.
to keep that in mind.
Right.
All right, man. We've been here over an hour. Is there anything else that you want to get into before we get off,
Um,
or anything you have to say to other guys that are listening, getting into the trade, or starting a business?
I would say just take it with a grain of salt. Um, don't be afraid to learn new things and do things differently from how you were doing them. Um, and the number one thing, the only thing that holds people back is themselves. So that is like the top. At the end of the day, we can come up with all these excuses of why we can't do something, or but they're your excuses at the end of the day. Put your nose to the grindstone. Um, Learn from the guys who have had those shitty days, so that you don't have to go through them yourself. Just
Yeah.
keep learning. Don't stay stagnant. So
Oh, that's one of my favorite things is like don't stay stagnant with anything that you do as a
yeah,
technician, as a business owner, as a person in life. Like don't stay stagnant. Always try to make yourself better at anything that you do.
right.
And yeah, that whole thing, like you said, like the only thing that holds yourself back is you.
Hmm.
That happened to me, and my dad had to make me realize that because, like I said earlier, I was not very confident when I started, but I knew
Right.
this stuff, and I was holding myself back because I was second guessing myself all the time. And he had to
Hmm.
tell me like, or had to give me that confidence to be a better technician by believing in myself. Because he's like, I believe you. I believe in you. I know you can fix it. I know you can do this.
Yeah.
So he had to put that, that confidence so that I could, stop holding myself back. So that was my
Right.
uh, thing with that. And, after that, because I'll tell you now, because we've had discussions where, like you mentioned that like brazing in difficult spots. But once you are able to do that, and then it comes up, next time you're more confident in your brazing skills because you already did like the toughest job that you
Right.
could, previously. So like I was telling him, there are some that one that I talked about that I cut out and had to redo the TXV and everything. I was like
Hmm.
10 years ago, 12 years ago, I probably would have cried at that because I was like, how am I going to do that? And I even had difficulty doing it, but I didn't have like a way to record everything, but I did have difficulty
Yeah.
with it. And I'm like, yeah, 12 years ago, I probably would have crawled and, cried in a corner and
Yeah.
not been able to do it. But, you got to be confident and build that up and you get better with time. So that's all that is. And don't let yourself hold yourself back.
100%.
All right, man. I
100%.
appreciate you for making the time. It was a great
Yeah,
conversation.
man. Thanks for having
Uh,
me on, dude. Hopefully, hopefully I can come back on with some business experience. Get
some
my
knowledge,
hands, yeah, get some
some
knowledge, get
business
some
knowledge.
business knowledge, and come back with some stories and
Oh, yeah.
share some
Well,
experiences. So,
for sure, man. We'll catch up. Everybody watching and listening, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one.